That was cool. That was
That was
cool.
cool.
That was cool.
Alright, bro.
It made my heart jump when I seen that. All right. What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the HOGside. I'm your host, CJ the Hog. This is the champ Brian, and we have a special guest. This is Adam and Neva of the Burgundy and Gold Report. Me and Adam actually go not way back, but we go back. We actually ran into each other on Twitter. We had a few guys, prospects before the draft that we both had a chance to interview, and I met this guy. He reached out to me. We've been reaching out ever since, and I'm so glad now to officially have you on the show. Adam, how you feeling, brother?
Oh, it's a pleasure, man. Thank you guys for having me on. But yeah, we're talking about there's not too many people you come across on Twitter that are, talking high of, not only just small school prospects, but Division two, way down, even three. So, when we see each other, we got to stick together because there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of rinse and repeat out there. So yeah, man, let's definitely chop it up about that, man.
Definitely, definitely. I am definitely looking forward to this next off season that is coming up. There's some small school guys that I've been keeping my eye on, and that the Washington football team should definitely take a look at. Them hidden gems be the keys to all this. So, without further ado, let's get this thing on and cracking because there's a lot to talk about, right?
Yes, sir.
Just starting off, let's start off with the weekly updates. So far, Curtis Samuel, he was practicing today, and he was getting stretched out with the same injury. A lot of people was like, "Oh, he's not going to be ready for week one," but I don't know. I think he'll be a game time situation. Hopefully, but listen, this is why we have the depth. This is why we got 7 wide receivers on the roster, right? So I'll be looking closely at this. We have what 3 or 4 more days until the actual start of the Washington football team season.
Yes.
I'm excited. Football has been back, and I've been living every moment of it. Regardless of who's on the screen, I'm just glad to see football, whether it's NFL or college. College football was very, very much well lit on Saturday. College football is officially back. Just seeing that Wisconsin playing jump around, and how everybody in the stadium was just going nuts. Football is back, y'all. Football is back. That's all I gotta say. Um, Weekly updates is the name for the brand has been
Yeah,
narrowed
the
down
elite.
again. It has been narrowed down again. Um, I didn't get a chance to get the names again. I can't remember the names off the top of my head.
It was the
But
Commanders, the Presidents, the Red Hogs. What else was it? But of course, the Red Wolves.
Red Wolves, yeah.
And then they said also the football team name, which we have is, I think I just named maybe six. I can't remember number two, but right now, as they playing with it, the fans, they know what the fans want. We all kind of know what we want. But I
yeah,
got to get to the point. I really start not to care anymore. No, I just want us to start winning games.
Right.
you know what?
If we start winning games, but people are not gonna give a damn what the name is eventually. I just want to look good just for one, just
I'm
for the
not going to
good.
lie though. The Washington football team is actually growing on me.
It's going on everybody now.
Yeah, it's growing on me. I have no problem. I wouldn't have an issue if they said we're going to keep it as the Washington football team. I have no
Whatever
issue.
name they pick, though, CJ, it's going to be people not satisfied. To be brutally honest with you, whatever
Yeah.
name they pick, it's going to be people complaining. So
Washington has a very unique fan base
yes,
that's
sir.
very
We
big on
still,
criticizing, right? So every team fan base has those fans, but I don't know. Washington, we got some fans. We have some fans. But the name that's actually is the Armada, the Brigade, the Commander, the Defenders. I'm
uh,
not sure if that will work because that's the DC XFL team name, but I guess the Presidents, the Red Hogs, the Red Wolves, and of course the Washington football team. Adam, what was your take on just like not only just like to narrow it down, but what is your take on, like how this whole transition to the name brand into 2022?
Personally, I think that they've known for a little bit. I wish they wouldn't drag it on. I'm hoping to think that it might be something legal, and that's why it's going to take so long. But the constant like throw in your face, here's a list of names, and then we saw our guy Rio was on JP Finley and Brian Mitch, and there was a lot of going back and forth, and it's just like, come on. It's like now you have it's like the fan base is arguing with the local media about this. It's like I know their intention. It's to create more buzz, to bring more fans back, and I get it, but I wish it would just end. But if you ask me what I think it is, I think it's Red Wolves just because everybody I've heard that's involved with the fan of bass, everything says that's the image that they keep getting the most. And it's like a subliminal thing. It's like you're saying, do you like this? Do
Yeah,
you like this? But half of the things are showing a wolf or canine. So I think they've been
right.
floating that. And I thought Wolfpack. That's what I thought before that, because that is a college name. And people are like, well, it's done. Yeah, but it's marketable because it's college name and there's millions of things you can market with. The other
Exactly.
names on the list, what starts to happen with that, like you said, it starts to be very arena league. You could even go back to the NFL Europe. That's where I think some of those names came from, some of them.
Oh
Um,
man, they took
and as
away
far
from.
as so I'm not even set on any of them. But what I have to say about WFT is I'm friends. I live in New York, so I know a lot of Giants fans, a lot of Philadelphia fans. It's just too close to WTF because the WTF gifts. I don't know, like if you guys are on different. So
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
too
I've seen
easy,
them.
and that's my problem with it. The
Yeah,
abbreviation is what kills it. Washington football team isn't horrible. It's the abbreviation, as in
right.
HTTR. We had the abbreviation, so right away the team goes to abbreviation, and it looks like WTF. So I
Because
just
It
think,
does.
unfortunately, this doesn't
It
work.
does.
That's just my thought.
yeah, so I mean, I definitely agree with everything that you said. Like trust me, if I think that it's the Red Wolves too, because just like you said, it's the subliminal things, right?
Yeah,
The
It's
Red
just
Wolves,
super marketable. It's just super marketable.
it's super
super.
marketable, and not only that, it's like out of all the names that came through in the beginning, it was like more than 1,000 names that came through. Red Wolves stuck every time. When
Right.
every time they narrowed it down, Red Wolves was still there. So I'm like,
Also, you got to thank Fred Smoot too, though, because he's been promoting that. He's
oh
been
yeah,
pushing.
yeah. Fred Smoot, he was on board the moment he heard the actual name, and I ain't gonna lie, I definitely like it too. I tell people, just imagine you score a touchdown or you get a sack or interception, and then the whole stadium just start howling, and then you hear the sound effects of the wolf. You know what I'm saying? Things like
But I'll ask you
it's
this though, a
marketable.
serious question, and then this is what I said. This is what I said to a couple of people. They said, "Why are you going to keep choosing another animal name?" I'll put the question ahead. What were the last couple expansion teams? They were all animals. And okay, Jacksonville, the market has been a bad market, but everything that they marketing around mascots, around animals, it's a lot easier than trying to reach for something like, let's just say, presidents or gladiators, like something like Titans. That's been done. We've seen it, so they know it's marketable. So I think no name will be good enough, in my opinion. I've been around for so long, but I think at least if you can make it an animal, I don't know. It's kind of I think it doesn't go on for years how horrible it is. Maybe it's just like ripping off the band-aid, a quick one. But if you put one of those arena kind of names, man, it's gonna go on for years about people. Because it's like, keep in mind, like, I don't know about you guys, but I love throwbacks. How are they ever going to do throwbacks? So it's like, is it the end of the era for throwbacks too? Because if we're not going to do the imagery and everything, so you got to get this one right. And if you can do an animal, like you said, red wolves, wolves, whatever, you can just do so many combinations. There's, like you said, just so marketable. And everyone has to understand this is a business first, a sports second.
I
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
agree.
No, there's no denying it. I'm just imagining, just listening to you right now. I can just see the little kids with the little wolf caps on. They can twist it up
Right.
with the competition, the colors of the jerseys. I can just imagine all that. And then
Yep.
outside the stadium would be like the wolf pack. I can see
Look
that
at Kansas
before.
City. The Kansas City Chiefs, because they had to stop using that chief. I don't know how many years ago, or they stopped deciding it. and somehow they came up with a wolf is like their mascot that runs around, and that's what everyone. We don't really see it on national TV unless you're out that region of the country. But I know people that go to those games, and that's all you see out front. So it's like it's sometimes it's what you want it to be, but if you don't give it a name and if you just float it out there, you can't really get to that point. So man, but bottom line, man, I just want to get to football.
Yeah,
That's
and
how I feel.
yeah, that's how I feel too. It's just one of those things where let's just talk about football.
Yeah, you gotta address it. I understand why you gotta address it. Everyone has to address it, but it's like at least some shows are just dedicated to the whole topic, and that's what's really drowning out the content right now.
Hey, thanks for
Steven,
dropping in.
Steven, man, thank you for
My
tuning
guy
in,
right
man.
there.
Red Wolves. Yeah, see,
Yes,
there you
sir.
go.
Um,
Just go ahead and start howling, man. I love it. Like I said, it's very marketable. I'm still with it. Whether it's the Red Wolves or the Washington football team, just please,
get
please,
it over with.
for the love of God, do not pick presidents. Do
No,
not. I'll
heck
be
no.
very disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be very disappointed if they choose something like the Brigades, the Defenders. It's like, what are we, an arena league team? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
is this the XFL? Like, you got to do better. Do better. Do better. It's just it
I
doesn't
agree.
sound right rolling off the tongue. You know what I'm saying? Like
No.
you have teams like the Saints, the Ravens, the Cardinals, the Jaguars, the Browns. Then you have the Brigades.
Hmm.
It doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right in the whole list of NFL teams itself. So the Red Wolves, it definitely, so
It's fixed. Yeah.
he said they can call them the pink powder puff caterpillars if they win the Super Bowl.
That's right.
I
Hundred
agree.
percent.
Winning the Super
I'm
Bowl,
telling
you can
you,
call them
as long as
anything.
they win, they're not gonna care. People not gonna care what the name is. If they win the NFC division titles, they go into the playoffs consistently. If this team can just compete consistent, the fans are gonna come back.
Ken, I said that in the
Not
beginning. I said that in the
really.
beginning, Ken, until I witnessed these fans can be brutal. Like these fans can be brutal when it comes to like this whole name campaign thing. It's it hasn't been fun when you look
Well, they
at
let the
when
But
you
it
fans
look
also,
at
get involved with the bullets. Remember, so that I don't know if you guys thought that. I didn't think. I hate the name Wizards, and I really,
yeah.
unfortunately, it wasn't because of the name. I just kind of stopped following them since then because like Chris Webber, Jawan Howard, Rasheed Wallace, that was the last game I went to, and then they
Mhm.
changed it, and I don't know, I kind of fell off. But see, that's how bad it can be. But I think if
Right,
you're
exactly.
Washington, Washington has a lot more history than DMV, especially if someone that grew up there. So I think if you're easily can walk away from it, I don't know. I kind of I kind of question that a little bit because the name is just the name in the end. It's important. But man, the history is never going to go. No matter if they change the name or what, it's still the same guys. You know what I mean?
I agree. So, looking ahead to week one, we play against the Chargers. Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen. Um, we got Desmond King. What do you guys think? What do you guys think how this game is going to turn out? A lot of people say, "Oh, Justin Herbert's going to have a great game," and I'm like,
I think it's gonna be a defensive game though.
I don't know.
It's
You know,
gonna be a
we
defensive game.
yeah, it's definitely going to be a defensive game. This is the game. This is going to be the game where you actually really see what this defense can actually offer. Not just the front
Right.
seven. We pretty much know what that front four, that front seven can definitely get done. The question is how good is this secondary? And I tell you what, Cam Curl has gotten that starting position. I'm glad to see that.
He earned it. He earned it.
He's
Respectfully.
definitely earned it. He's definitely earned it. Like when I say Cam Curl, like all right, we're gonna talk about the secondary a little bit later. We ain't gonna move far ahead. I gotta convince you guys about Cam Curl because there are some fans that still isn't convinced that Cam
Oh boy.
Curl, is the guy. So I'm definitely gonna convince you guys. Adam, you know how I feel about these hidden gems that has just been blossoming, when they get their name called, and you see guys like the Shazer Everett and then
Mhm.
Cam Curl, Jimmy Moreland. Even though he did get cut, but Jimmy Moreland was one of them. One thing that I can say is that Ron Rivera has taken a lot of guys where we wouldn't think about seeing, and actually, utilize them to their fullest potential. So,
And he plays everybody. That's one thing I give him credit for. He plays everybody on that
yeah,
roster.
yeah, he'll play
Then
everybody. If
you
it
gotta
doesn't
be
work
ready.
out, he's not going to take them right
Draft
out.
status is irrelevant. That's what I love about him. It does, I was a big AGG fan, and I think that he could still do more. But I understand why he did it. So you're talking about we still got him on our practice squad, and we released a fourth rounder. I haven't seen that happen in Washington probably
Yeah,
ever. So that's the
yeah,
kind of impressive. Because the fact that he wanted to come back and not at least test the waters, that says a lot about what kind of program that Ron has going.
yeah, exactly. And this is this is where we talk about the culture, right? So, week one is the here's the thing that concerns me about week one is a lot of people want to say that this offensive line they are much better than what they have been. I'll give them that.
We,
But
we still gotta find out.
yeah, I have to find out. I get that Sam Cosmi is a rookie, but the question is do you allow that rookie to start against Joey Bosa? This one.
Mm.
This is the test that we
Yeah.
see with Sam Cosmi. Is can he get the job done against Joey Bosa? Can he get the job? Because I'm not sure if anybody else seen it last season. We all know how a lot of the fans feel about Morgan Moses, but Morgan Moses has held up his end of the bargain with a lot of top edge rushers last season. So Sam Cosmi does have
But we also got a new left tackle there as well. So we
yeah,
got new tackles. San Diego has a new line as well.
yeah,
Someone's going to bend and fold. We're going to find out.
Oh,
yeah. I can tell you
they're
this.
gonna have tight ends. They're gonna have tight ends helping Cosme though. He's not gonna get just put out on the end on it because
Right.
they're gonna focus in on going at him. And I think when you have Bates out of the kid we drafted, I think he provides that. Although he's young and he's still raw in a lot of aspects, I think he can be one of the better blockers right away with Logan Thomas. But they're not gonna if they leave him on alone, they're just asking for trouble because this offensive line, although it has some talent, man, it's a total work in progress right now.
Yep.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
absolutely right, Stephen. I agree.
When
I
it
like
brings
Stephen
together.
already. I like Stephen already. 24-7, 27-14 Washington. You
That
know what?
seems kind of realistic. That seems kind of
Yeah,
realistic score.
yeah. So you
That
telling me
means
that
Fish is
that
hot.
yeah, this team that we have is reminding me of the '87 team. If Fitz perform well without line, we will have a hell of a season. I
Does
said
that
the
make
same
does
thing.
that make Taylor Jay Schrader? If he's saying that, I don't know, man. I think honestly, what's crazy to say is I think this defense can be better. That's what's insane to say that. I think that they can be
Yeah,
better. 91. I don't know about that. I think to me, the Washington 91 Super Bowl team, from top to bottom, is the best ever. But this defense, I think that they can get to that level of Dexter Manley and those guys if they just keep putting it together and they keep them together. Because free agency, that's the difference between then and now. So, but man, sky's the limit for this team.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And so the crazy thing is that I told myself that I was definitely going to actually, talk about this. Is that the captains were released today,
Oh,
and
yeah.
um, so Washington, you know the fan base. You know how
Right.
the fan base gets. So the captains is Ryan Fitzpatrick, Chase Young, Terry McLaurin, John Allen, Jonathan Allen, Logan Thomas, Brandon Scherf, John Bostic, and DeShazor Everett.
I have
Um,
no problem with that. Honestly, I don't.
so yeah, I have no issues with the captains that were named. A lot of people's like John Bostic. How did John Bostic get the captain? And I'm like, well, first he's the only veteran on that linebacker core. Even Thomas Davis has gotten that captain patch when he was on the defense. It's not because he was the best player on that linebacker core or just on that defense. Period. It was just that he was a veteran. He can get these guys in shape. He can tell these guys, hey, this is not where you go. This is where you go. So
Right.
that's what Boston. And honestly, like it or not, John Bostic has definitely got, he's definitely praised for his play recognition.
I
John
got
Bostic.
one. I got one though that I'm sorry to interrupt you. And I found out today, and it makes more sense. Brandon Sheriff is the one that I've talked to, like a lot of my readers, and said this is a guy who clearly doesn't want to be in town. Doesn't want to be here. Doesn't want to talk negotiations. Why are you going to make him a captain? I think that's actually a valid point. And then it actually came out the news that all the four holdover captains weren't voted on, so they automatically got pushed over, and the only four got voted on. So that's why they didn't all get voted on. Four the last years came over. I don't know how I feel about that because I've always been around, locker rooms and heard that, usually every year, although it might be the same people, it's because they continually get voted. To not even do a vote for that, I don't know. That's curious, but like I said, I'll stay with the Ron we trust until he shows us different. But I think with Brandon out of town next year, there's no way he's there. The second franchise tag is a death wish that he's out. I don't know if you give it to him. I feel like, I think our center deserves it. If you're going to ask me an offensive line, I think that he deserves to have that. I think, I talked to me and his father follow each other on Twitter, and I think that Chase Roulier is epitomizing right now the missing position. This team, I think he's really underrated. We look in the past, the centers are played for Washington. It was a revolving door for many years. This guy is slowly becoming one of the better ones in the NFC, and
We
nobody's talking
had
about
Casey Robach, for God's sakes.
it. Yeah.
Well, hold on though. The only thing I kind of agree with you a little bit with the Brandon situation. But let's once again, the, regardless as his fans, we know how he really is because we watch all the games. You be like, is this dude really worth to pay the money to? Then you got to sit back and think like, dang, when was the last time besides Trent Williams, consistently besides him, when was the last time we had someone that made All Pro besides Matt Turk? So that's kind of embarrassing. And then the dude also, he's known one with his peers is one of the top elite best. And it's hard
Right.
to. You should do this. It's hard to get a good offensive lineman. It's finding a very good offensive lineman is like finding a quarterback. It's very rare. You can pick any guys you want, but you don't know if they're going to man out. So it's
Finding
like I'm kind of in the middle with when it comes to Sheriff. A part of me is like, yeah, if he goes, he goes. I might feel a little sting, but then a part of me is like, we need to hold on to something like this. We haven't had a player that made All Pro in over 20 some years. It's kind of a
yeah.
pivotal point.
Well, I mean, and I want to add to your statement. Not only that, it's hard to find an elite offensive lineman nowadays. It's hard to find an elite interior lineman.
Yes, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you usually find your elite lineman on the outside. You know what I'm saying? You got those, those tackles, right? But then it's very hard to find that inside guy. Like you see the Colts, they got their inside guy. A lot of these people have, their inside guy now, but these guys has already been in the league about 6-7 years already. But
Yeah, but
they're,
our line is still sort of kind of young. It's not you got all we got
absolutely,
all guys under the age of 30. So it's
You
like
absolutely.
got to
that's
ask
good.
yourself, dude. Do you think Flowers can be that good? I think he can. I don't know if he can be as good as Brandon, but I think he can be very good, and he's still young. The same draft. That's crazy. It's the same draft. They went one after the other to each other, and they have both of them right now. So I don't think he can replace him easily. But I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I'm worried about the rest of the line, Jalen. Leno is a guy I wrote about, and I really like him a lot. Great human being. But man, his consistency is what he had in Chicago. But you gotta live with those holds. You're gonna have to live with those. Him getting off the edge. So solidifying the run is probably a lot. People are focusing on the receivers, and I love them. But man, if they don't get this run going, this is going to be a 7-8-1 season at best.
Yeah.
DJ will tell you all I care about is the big boys in the trenches. Nothing gets done
Oh
without
yeah,
them.
I love
definitely.
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
we need
You
those.
know,
Regardless of
one thing that really stood out with me is, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it is that, as far as like the Brandon Scherf thing is like I love me some Brandon Scherf. I
Right.
can't explain enough, right? But then it goes to this point, just like you said, we know how it goes when we franchise tag these guys for two straight years. We seen it with Kirk Cousins. We seen that the third year
but
he was
Kirk
out of
never
here.
wanted to be here. Kirk never really wanted to be here
I
with
don't
all
think
this.
I don't think that it was that he's never wanted to be here. I think that at the time the organization was crappy. Let's just go ahead and just say that the
Yeah.
organization was crappy, and then it went over to Bruce Allen coming in, and then Scott McLaurin, which actually was a very smart ad, might I add. But things happen.
He was given the power. That was the problem because I was a big fan of his. He's an awesome evaluator in the evaluation business. Even when he left Seattle, because there was alcohol issues, and
Yeah,
I feel like Allen really like turn that cigarette into him after that whole thing because he is an alcoholic, but man, he has excellent evaluation ability, and that whole relationship was destroyed because he had the nerve to bring one of the players in his office and just have a conversation with him. So
right.
I've talked to a lot of people to make sure like what happened there, and although Washington pursued that whole drinking, and that's why he lost his grievance against the team, it didn't change the fact that he was an awesome talent evaluator. And granted, he had some misses, a good amount of misses. Don't get me wrong, but you got to look at it. The thing is, you say he had a good. I'll step back. He had a good amount of misses, but you have to confirm: did he make that ultimate pick, or did he suggest it? Because he wasn't. He was just helping in the war room. He was. It was Bruce Allen and Dan Snyder making all the
Oh yeah,
picks.
Yep.
And we
we all
say they
know
were
that.
hits for him and weren't. So
Yeah. So the I would definitely think that it's going to be hard to fill that void if Brandon Scherf is not here next year.
So my question to both of you, one at a time, just quick, and let's move on to the next one. It's going to come down to it. Would you pursue him, sign him, yes or no?
I would have traded. I would have tried to trade him already to get something. Now they're gonna get a compensatory at best. So if he walks after this season, I think at best they get a third, if I'm not mistaken. If they don't replace him with a guy closer to equal value in free agency, because they can slide Flowers in there and leave it and get that third comp pick, I believe. That's crap, man. We're talking about an all pro, but with the other side, you're going to sign him $20 million a year at his stage. No, I think that as hard as it is to fill, you just keep going because I do think they have some talent on the team to try to work. That's a lot of money to dedicate to a guy, and I think that money could be allocated elsewhere. You guys got to remember, Terry McLaurin is going to be one of the highest paid receivers in the game. No matter what the national media says, financially, he's going to be at the top 5 paid in the game within a year. So you have
Oh,
to
no, you
understand
pay
that
him.
salary's going up.
Yeah, he's a
That's
he's a
another.
third.
That's
Yeah, he's
another
a third
dude
line.
before the season is over with. I say by week 8, week 9, or something like that. If this dude is, let's say, within those 9 weeks, he already got like 600 something yards receiving, maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns. You got to pull him in the office. You got to pull him in the office. You got to be like, hey, we want you. Come on,
Definitely,
let's
I
go.
definitely agree with that. And as far as the question, two scenarios can happen, right? The
Okay.
first scenario is you can trade him to a team that is very desperate, that have an all pro who's ready to win a Super Bowl, who desperately need that inside guy. And there are some teams right now who's just an offensive guard away from having that Super Bowl. The Chiefs can go back again. They wanted to make a run, they can do that. They lost the offensive lineman and Raider. They can go back. They can go back, and that trade can happen. You have different guys that's there that just doesn't have that offensive lineman that Brandon Scherf would definitely do justice for, right? And that's that scenario. The second scenario is you can offer for his contract to be restructured. I mean, what are you going to say? The most that he can say is no. The other side is you can restructure. You can get your deal restructured. You can add some incentives. You can add a bonus, and then boom, everybody's happy. You can retire. You can retire a Washington football team guy. You can get retired. It just sucks to see that Ryan Kerrigan has just made history and was traded.
I agree with you on that, but like I said, so both of you guys are pretty much like, hey, it's going to suck, but just move on.
Yeah,
And like I said, the CBA is going.
it's
We all
business.
know the CBA cap room is going up every single year too. So I'm looking at it like, dog, if you got, it's like I'm so iffy with that situation. I'm just really iffy with the situation. Now, if he goes again and has another All Pro season, and that's 2 back-to-back All Pro seasons, you gonna still tell him, hey, we want to let you go?
They're gonna give him
I
what he
think
wants.
I think the injuries. I think that,
If
yeah,
he makes it
honestly,
well, good.
if he if he does not get injured for the whole season, and he makes not only the
If he gives me 15 out of 17 games, you sign him. Especially if he makes All Pro again, or Pro Bowl. You got no choice. It's gonna
right,
be it's gonna be it's gonna be weird.
yeah, and it just
We
sucks
got
because
Trent is
um,
gone,
there's
so
just a few
that
guys,
hurts.
yeah. Well, John already got his contract extension. That was the first thing that they, it's like, hey, look, let's let's extend this contract this year. So that's something that we ain't got to worry about next year. Logan Thomas did the same thing. Let's give him an extension now, so that when the next year comes, we don't have to worry about it.
That's smart.
These guys who are actually really stepping up, who's going to be worth a lot in the next year. You got to nab those guys down. Deron Payne, honestly, this is where we're going to see. We're not going to be able to keep Matt Ioannidis or Deron Payne next year.
Yeah,
You
that's what I was about to
It
say. It's
has
between one
it
of
has
them.
to be one or the other. So this is where we see this year is whether or not Deron Payne or Matt Ioannidis, who's going to stand out more. Because I mean, to be honest, you could get rid of Tim Settle, but why would you get rid of Tim Settle when one, he's cheap and he's still a dog out there, right? I mean, to be honest, I guess we'll see what happens. Like I said, it's the name of the
I know
business.
who's the better lineman between both of them, but the only issue is his health once again. Matt, everybody, if you watch them, come on now, Matt's the dog. Let's
Oh
just
yeah,
be honest. He's the
I,
best
But
D
see, keep
lineman on
this
it.
in mind. Like I hear on Matt Ioannidis, but the thing with Payne looked good against Tampa Bay in that playoff game, and that's what's so crazy. I love Taylor and everything. I love the story, but nobody talks about that performance that Payne had. I think it was what, 2 sacks
yeah,
and a forced fumble. I
yeah.
think Tampa Bay recovered it, but that was a game, and that was a solid offensive line. So I don't. The fact that Allen got his money. When I heard Allen got his money, Payne's gonna get his money too. I think they're gonna keep the Alabama. I'm an Alabama fan, so maybe it's just wishful thinking.
Oh yeah,
But since then,
definitely.
Chris Samuels was my guy, and that's how I became the fan there. So I think that with the Alabama connection, they're going to pay a lot of money to keep them two together. But if you have Chase, Sweat, and those two together on a 5-year plan, that's what it is. It's a 5-year plus window to keep all those together, and that's your run. And you get the formula. You go into that draft, you move up, you do whatever you got to do in this draft, and you get your signal caller because you'll get them on the cheap no matter what. And then you can pay those guys. And maybe you're lucky. Maybe an Ionitis, whatever, he's like, all right, maybe he got hurt. Maybe he played 9 games, 10 games. All right, they'll sign for $8 million a year. They can afford that. That's an affordable rotational player with the salary cap going up $28 million. So it can happen. But if all of them stay healthy, because Settle's another one, Settle, Ionitis, all of them, which that's really a stretch that all of them will. Yeah, those guys are going to just get paid elsewhere. You know what I mean? Because if other teams sees,
Oh, yeah.
them, they're plug and play starters. So injuries are going to happen. COVID is going to happen. And COVID is going to mess up the stats, and it's going to mess up free agency for a lot of folks. Unfortunately, that's what's going to happen. So to have the depth, that's why I feel different about this defense, because they have the depth, and I think the defensive backfield, like you said, we'll get into, are more than serviceable to reap the benefits of the pass rush. Because really, they just really got to get their hands on some balls and keep those pass catchers really in line. They don't really have to shut. They don't have to be shut down. Corners, in my opinion. I think the safeties can really carry a lot for this team.
I agree. I agree. So, without further ado, this is the first time we're doing this segment, guys. Okay, so
Mhm.
we're starting the segment off with hot takes from the hall. Okay, so this segment is where I throw out a hot take that a lot of people might not agree with. Right.
All right.
So here's my hot take: is that Antonio Gibson is well around to be 1,000 yard running back this season. I think that he can do it. He had the touchdowns last season, but now we need to see him to break that 1,000 yard mark. I think Antonio Gibson is slated to be top five running back by the end of this season. That's one of my hot takes. What do you guys think about that?
Oh, for sure. I think the only thing that's stopping him is that the potential for that turf toe to resurface. But other than that, I think the all-purpose yards, I love him. The Memphis is a school that I've spent a lot of time scouting. If you look at the guys, Gainwell was a guy that I scouted this year. Unfortunately, he went to the Eagles. But what they do is they get these bigger-bodied receivers and they really mold them into running backs. So what that does is it puts them ahead of the curve when they get to the NFL. So really, he's really just trying to refine his cuts and his patience. But as far as his awareness, especially in the open field as a receiver, that's going to help him tremendously. So yeah, I think there's no reason he doesn't get at least 1,500 yards from scrimmage. Will it get 1,000 yards on the ground? Only reason I say no is because you'll see when I drop my first episode. Patterson was my first evaluation back in January, and I think that he's going to get a lot more carries than people think because he's that true running back. He's been playing the position for 15 years, and the fact that he went undrafted was, in my opinion, one reason only: the lack of an NFL combine. Because I think everyone said, does he have hands? He showed in the preseason those first 2 games. So I think that it's going to be more about a committee approach. It could bring down yards, but if Gibson stays healthy, he's a hot hand. They're just going to keep giving him the ball. So, but it's just in the modern day NFL, how often do running backs stay healthy for all 16 games? Especially ones that aren't those blue chippers yet. He's not there yet. So I think that if he can get to 13, 14 games, man, he can definitely, have 15 all-purpose from the line of scrimmage for sure.
All right, Chip, I know how you feel about Antonio Gibson. I know how you feel about the kid. What do you think about my hot take?
Once again, I have to see it, man. Like I said, the turf toe thing, what I'm saying, that's a reoccurring injury. It gets nagging. And they're going to be playing on tough areas this season again. Once again, like I said, I do feel like Cuz has the talent. There's no question about it. And like you said, you can go back and watch even the preseason game. You can see he's running with his pads now and everything. I see all of that. I give him credit on that. Once again, I'm one of those guys I have to see it to believe it. I'm like, dude, can you really last the whole season? Like, can you? And I've been screaming, I've been wanting us to trade for Kareem Hunt from the Browns for the longest. Like, I feel like we need a dog, a guy, a real bell cow. I look at him right now.
Latavius Murray is on the market.
But not yet. Huh?
Latavius Murray is on the market. To be honest, you know how I feel about going for guys that just hit the market, right? I'm one of those guys like, I don't even need to add that to the team. But Latavius Murray, I like the guy. For him to be a backup running back, he can potentially become a starter anywhere else. But I think that Latavius Murray would be a great fit as a powerhouse running back. This is definitely what we need. We need that third down guy when we're 3rd and 2. We're first and goal. Those type of guys. Latavius Murray is the guy to definitely do that, and I definitely hope that that the coaches will see that. That the coaches said we'll see that and bring this guy in. The only thing about
injuries is what hurts him. Like if you go back to the Vikings days, dude always been a dog. Catching the ball, running the ball, he is a dog. He can stay healthy.
Yeah, that is true. Not only that, he was asking for $4 million a year with the Saints. I'm like, I mean, I don't know. It's hard. No,
Patterson's going to be good, guys. Patterson's going to be good. I'm telling you, just go watch Maurice Jones-Drew, and you're going to get the same kind of vibes. Not quite as that same prospect coming out of college, of course, but I'm telling you guys, he's extremely hard to tackle, and that small target. There's a reason Barry Sanders has been reaching out to him. There's a reason our GM is looking at him like Ricky Irvins. It's because he's one of those real deals that just slipped under because no combine. Because I had him as a 4th, 5th rounder and that's what honestly a lot of the scouts had him in that 5th round, 6th round range. So to get that guy undrafted, I think that's what if he wasn't, you might not feel the same way. Murray, he's solid. But if we picked him in the 5th round, you might say, okay, well, we got him in the 5th round, so that's our rotation guy. The undrafted thing, I think, is turning some people off. But no, I'm looking forward to talking a lot about him.
He reminds me of Darryl Sproles 2.0, just a little small guy.
Yeah. So what's crazy is that with Jared Patterson, right? Jared Patterson, when I seen the kid, right, and I was like, oh, he's definitely gonna get drafted. And everybody was like, he's not gonna get drafted. He's crazy. I'm like, no.
I never heard of the kid.
this kid is special. He's special. He didn't get drafted, and people's like, yeah, what I tell you. The moment he did get drafted, 24 hours later, what happened? Washington called him up. Was like, hey, we want to bring you in. Boom. It was a dream come true. He always wanted to play for his favorite team. He's in Washington. I'm happy. I've been talking about Jared Patterson all the whole off season. I'm just glad to finally see him having on that burgundy and gold, and I'm very excited to see him in the when the season starts. I think that he gives that speed. Not only that speed, he has a nice body on him. He has a big body on him for a little guy, so he's definitely going to be hard to tackle. I think we can definitely see him with that third down option. It's going to be weird to be seeing only 3 running backs on this roster this year. I'm so used to us running with the 4, with the absence of Bryce Love at the time.
Yeah.
Gosh, man,
Don't even mention that name,
I'm so
dude.
glad we missed the mark on that one, man. It's just the injuries. Yeah,
Sometimes those knees just can't recover. You know what I mean? He was explosive, but man, yeah, what could have?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, he would definitely be a big problem in the third and fourth quarter for defenses. So I'm definitely glad to see that. So the next hot take that I have is Kendall Fuller, top 5 defensive back in the league.
No, not top 5. I would say top 10, hands down. Top 10. I wouldn't say top 5 though. His
Put him in
brother,
top
his
20.
brother. You said top 20?
Oh wow.
Top 15, top 20. I can, if I sit down and break it out, it's not that I don't have faith in him. I just think that there's other guys that are just above that echelon. But top 5, top 10, I don't know. I think you have to just like put them all together and just see how they fit. And right now, is he viewed as a guy that's going to travel with guys? Is he going to be a guy on the outside? He's kind of a master. He's somebody that's a master of none but can do it all. So that's what I love about him. That's the only reason I can't put him at. Like I said, top 15, that 12, 13, that seems like a good number for me because I think he's just a jack of all trades but a master of none. So I think that WJ3 is going to surprise people. I think people have been a little down on him. They said that he's coming from a press coverage team to a zone coverage. This will be a Josh Norman situation. While Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio have been very vocal that they're going to employ a lot more press. The reason they're going to apply a lot more press is because now you have St. Juice, another long arm guy that he's another guy that's going to really show up. If you're able to do that at the
Yeah.
line, then you're able to let the pass rush just go wild. But if you're playing in zone, your pass rush is really going to have to maybe stun a little more, back off. They can get a lot done with 4 rushers. So I think to be able to have the ability to go into press and then jump off into bail, it just gives them a lot more opportunities. I think some fans need to back off the whole Josh Norman thing. This is a different coaching system. This is Jack Del Rio. People need to look at his, not as a record as a head coach. Look at
It's
his record as
Josh
a defensive
Norman.
coordinator.
It's Josh Norman. Move
It's Josh
on.
Norman. I know. It's Josh Norman was, I think, a full 2 seconds slower. I think WJ3 ran the combine. I think it was 4.38. So we're
Yeah.
not even close to that. So you're talking about a guy that even if he's not proficient in zone, he has makeup speed. So I think he's going to be better than folks think.
So I definitely want
But
to
Fuller,
touch
I don't
on.
know.
I definitely want to touch on what Kyron said in the comments. One thing that really made me excited is to see him during the training camp and the practices, him in that nickel. And I
Yeah.
think that was also one of the reasons why they let go Jimmy Moreland because now with having St. Juice in and then Mex Hire,
Right.
we're going to talk about the secondary. Trust me, I got something for y'all, okay? I got something for y'all when we talk about the secondary, okay? But
All right.
he is seeing them line up Kendall Full inside of the nickel was it almost brought me tears of joy because
So that's where he blossomed from.
that's where he belongs. When he was in Kansas City, that's where he was. He was in the nickel. That's why he was a Super Bowl cornerback. And this is the bread and butter right here. I'm excited to see him. We seen St. Juice on the outside and WJ3 on the other outside. Like you said, long arms, get a lot of press on that. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see this secondary. I do think Kendall Fuller can possibly be the top 5 defensive back in the league. Here's why. Last season, I think he had maybe 2 or 3 interceptions, 4 interceptions.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
From the
That's
outside,
impressive
heck yeah.
to stay consistent after coming from the Chiefs and on to this crap of a secondary from last year. Just gonna throw that out there. We wasn't the
No,
best
the Fuller
secondary,
brothers are good, period. The
you
Fuller
know,
brothers are
but
good, period.
yeah, the Fuller brothers are without question are phenomenal. I just think that Kendall is the better one. Sorry, Cal. You know what I'm saying, but
That was a dog, though. You know?
but no, I love Kendall Fuller. I was so glad that Ron Rivera was like, got to bring him back. I mean, I don't even know why they got rid of him in the first place. So I was definitely glad to see him come back. This is where he belongs. He's a Hokie guy. He got to be a Washington guy, right? So I'm definitely excited. I definitely think Kendall Fuller has the potential to become the top 5 DB in the league. I think this defensive back competition is starting to dwindle down a little bit now with Richard Sherman. They putting him in the safety a lot more. Stephon Gilmore as well. You know, age plays a big factor in the NFL, and it's just certain
Definitely.
positions that is very strenuous when your age gets up there, when you're hitting that 30 mark. It's time to look at that safety position.
Right.
It's time to look at
unless,
that safety
unless
position.
you stay playing like you're going on the outside, that's
You
the
know,
otherwise they're going to want you to
yeah,
come inside.
definitely. So I'm very excited to see Kendall Fuller this season. A lot more in that nickel package. Um, my last hot take. I had to do it. You know how the comparisons been.
I'm
You know
going
how the
to disagree
comparison.
with you on that. I'm going to disagree.
You know how the comparison has been last season with Terry McLaurin and DK Metcalf. I think that Terry McLaurin will outshine DK Metcalf this season. I think that is my hot take. People might
Bro,
think I'm
there's a
crazy.
total difference. It's a quarterback. You got an elite quarterback going to be throwing him the ball versus an
Listen,
average guy.
Terry McLaurin had 6 different quarterbacks.
I know that.
Right.
You ain't got to say that to me, but you saying he's going to
Five different
outperform him.
quarterbacks. Five different
Russ throws
quarterbacks
pretty
last
balls, bro. He
five
throws
different
pretty
quarterbacks
balls, man.
last season and was still 40 yards shy of DK Metcalf last season. 40 yards shy. 40 yards. I'm just saying.
Bro,
That's
it's a
that's
different dude
impressive.
throwing him a ball, though,
That's
man.
impressive. It's impressive. 5 different quarterbacks versus one quarterback, and you guys are still just
Elite quarterback.
you still under 50 yards, 50 yards in comparison. Hey, look, I'm taking my wins with Terry McLaurin every day. This is why he will be the highest paid wide receiver in the league. It's impressive when you have to play with 5 different quarterbacks in one season and still manages to hit that 1,000-yard mark and still be a top 10 wide receiver in the league. It's impressive. I love the kid. For him to be a third-round wide receiver and for him to be stepping
Right.
up like he did, he's an elite wide receiver. People might say I'm crazy for calling it. He's an elite wide receiver, and I think that he will outshine DK Metcalf this season.
I definitely think so. I think that they have a couple weapons on offense. As far as outshine, I think it's going to be real close. It's a decent take, but I think to think that Metcalf's going to have back to back as good as a receiver he is. I think McLaurin is on the incline a lot faster than Metcalf. I think Metcalf is going to hit that cap not this year, maybe next year. I think McLaurin within the next couple years, you're talking about top 5 receiver. I don't see that with Metcalf. I think as good as he'll ever be. I don't see him in that realm. In the draft, I had McLaurin, A.J. Brown, and Hollywood Brown in front of him. Those were guys that I liked. So we'll see how that goes. But long term, Russell Wilson, that makes that team go. If something happens, whatever, that's easy. Metcalf is done, and you're not going to get those stats because they don't really have anyone behind him. On the other hand, you look at Washington. I'm a believer in Taylor Heinicke. I think that guy can do enough to move his team. So I think it's a better situation than Seattle because and I say the same thing, Dallas, the same situation. Their quarterback goes down. New York, same situation. Washington's a better situation with not 2 great quarterbacks, 2 good quarterbacks. I think that's a good situation to help Terry McLaurin be better.
Yeah, I think I definitely want to touch on what you said is that Russell Wilson gets injured we don't know who's the backup.
Yeah, but when can you actually say that dude's been injured? He's been playing every game since he's
Yeah,
done that business career,
you're
and he's
absolutely
an
right.
elite player.
But
What I'm saying is, if I sorry to cut you off, Terry, you know how I feel about Terry. There's no arguing or debating about that. But I'm just thinking realistically. I'm thinking realistically. We're gonna have those close games when we're gonna have the low score games. The defense is gonna have to carry us. I'm not. It's you talking about consistency from an elite quarterback. So the way I'm thinking is plain and simple. Is like, dog, I know what Russ is gonna do. I know what I'm gonna get from Russ. You can't. None of us can sit here and say we can know each week what we're gonna get from Fitzpatrick. We just know, hey, it's gonna be either this or that with him. With
yeah,
Russ, you know he's gonna go there. He's gonna carry the team. He's a leader. He's consistent. Me and you talk about this all the time. He's consistent. As long as you got that consistent thing, and if Metcalf can stay healthy, dude, they're gonna ball out. They got a connection. But not to take anything from what makes Terry special is Terry is consistent with mediocre QB talent, and that's just super
yeah,
impressive.
I
I
agree.
agree with you on that. So I can see that. I can see what Adam's saying is I can realistically see it being close. But if Russ gets hot, we know Russ gets hot, and you dealing with a dude that's 6'5" that runs a 4.3. He's just snatching it downfield, 50 yards, 60 yard bombs. Terry's gonna have to take the 15 or 20 yard pass and take it to the house. It's a difference.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. Valid point. Um, that is all my hot takes for tonight. Adam, let's all give a round of applause for Adam for joining us, man. Hey, Adam,
Hell
thanks
yeah.
again, man. It's been a pleasure. I hope you had a good time. I hope you had a good time, man. I wish you could stay longer, but we know that you have duty
We want
calls.
him to come back, man. Adam, you got to come back, sir.
Oh yeah, you definitely better
Yeah,
come
man.
back.
Like before this, I'm on a show. I was in Dubai, man. So I'm doing anything and everything. Because really, what I'm going around is, of course, talking ball. I'm around promoting B&G Report Happy Hour. The Burgundy and Gold Report. Now we're hitting our 5th year. We had our brand new site that started this year, the whole section on our draft content, all of our draft cards pre-draft. So go check it out. But we really understood that, doing that, we have to have a YouTube show. So we tried to create an atmosphere, chill atmosphere. It's all in my attic. I record everything up there. You'll see my doll, my silver lab. You'll see everything cool up there. I won't get too much, but what I say to the viewers is, bring party favors. If you don't drink, if you don't do any other things like that, bring a cigar, bring tea, anything. But we're just gonna, we're chopping about Washington. We talked about Patterson. He's gonna be the feature of my next episode. Talk about scouting, draft evals. But then, we have
Okay.
last segment. We have our last call, which we're gonna get into a lot of stuff that maybe isn't not quite football. So yeah, it's gonna be B&G Report Happy Hour. We're already on YouTube right now, so go subscribe to us. And like I said, that first episode is dropping this week. Go subscribe, and our site is theburgundyandgoldreport.com. Follow us on Twitter at the B&G Report. Thank you guys so much. Again, we're definitely going to be back. Hail DC. I really appreciate it.
Man, thank you for being on here once
Man,
again,
thank
man.
you, man. I appreciate it, man. You've been awesome. All right, we'll catch you
Take it
later,
easy,
buddy.
guys. God bless.
All right.
That was
Man,
Adam, everybody.
you be finding all the awesome dudes, man. He's
Man,
awesome, dog. You be
I be
doing this
trying.
thing.
I be trying, man. I be trying. Let me. I gotta. I always have to tell this story, right? Is that
Dude.
I've had a Twitter account for years. All right. I haven't been on Twitter as much as I have been on Twitter in the last 365 days.
Because of
Right.
COVID.
Yeah, because of COVID, and since we doing podcasts, honestly, Twitter is a very informative way to get news on your favorite sports team.
Networking.
And networking as well. So I met a few guys. If you guys been watching this show, if you guys have been watching this show, that the few guys that we did have on here is those guys I've met on Twitter. So they are also other great podcasters, content creators, and things like that. And I invited them on to give us their take and their views on the Washington football team and the organization and how's the team doing, things like that. Give their predictions and have fun on this show. So we're gonna keep doing it. This is season 2, guys. Season 2. Season
Coming.
2.
You just smacking them with all the crazy times. Just bad.
You know, um, so right now, I got some actually good special guests that is coming up again. To end it out to end out the year. We have some good guys coming. It's going to be a surprise though, so make sure you guys definitely keep tuning in. All right. So we're going to move on because we don't have a lot of time. So we're going to keep moving on. Let's talk about this depth chart for week one. Of course, you're seeing that the depth chart got released, and I said, like, how do you feel about this depth chart so far? You've seen the depth chart last week. How do you feel about this depth chart, and what would you like to see the changes that actually has been made?
Well, to be brutally honest with you, the depth chart is fine, minus the Chris Samuels situation, which kind of bothers me. But yeah, the Chris Samuels situation is Diami Brown time, and Cam Sands, my boy, is their time to step up, and also
Adam
oh man,
Humphries.
yes, there we go, Mr. Humphries. Um, no, it's definitely. I love the depth chart for this week. Let's go out there. Let's compete. You know what I'm saying? Represent our home. Let's go out there and punch these guys in the face and let them know we ain't sweet. We ain't just a lucky guy who just made the playoffs last year. Let's be consistent. Let's fight. Let's go.
Yep, I definitely agree. I'm very excited about this week one. I'm definitely really excited about this game. And hey, bruh, listen, this game would definitely signify how good this defense is, and I'm really excited to see how well this defense perform. I'm just gonna go out and say it. Bold prediction time.
Uh oh.
I see 10 sacks altogether.
And one game.
Yep, I see it happening. I see it
Man,
happening. That
I
shit.
see Antonio Gibson going rushing for 100 yards and probably 2 touchdowns.
His first 100 yard game. That'll be interesting. He didn't hit 100 yards until what, week 8?
hmm
Week
I
8
think he's
last year.
they're going to focus it on. I have a feeling they're going to focus the game on him to try to keep Herbert off the field. That's why I think they're going to try to do to slow him down, to slow the game down. That's why I kind of have a feeling. Because if
Yeah,
we go to a shootout, it's going to be crazy, and I don't know we're going to be able to keep up.
yeah, I agree. We definitely need this win. I think
Both first 2 games, yeah, heck yeah.
I
But
wouldn't
it's a
mind.
short week
I
though.
wouldn't mind going 2-2. I wouldn't mind going 2-2.
Over the
You know,
first quarter of
yeah,
football.
yeah. The first quarter of football,
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't mind
fair.
going 2-2. We just cannot go 1-3. Not at all.
If we go
Um,
1-3, it's gonna be Heineke time. They're gonna put
we cannot
Heineke in it.
we cannot
It's
go one
Kyle
and
Allen.
three. We went 1-3 the beginning of last season. We barely scratched the surface. I need us to at least be either 2-2 or 3-1.
3-1. Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
or 4-0. You never know. It has it.
Man, that'd be exciting right there.
That'd be very exciting. So yeah, they one thing that will I'm actually really interested in is seeing how Ryan Fitzpatrick does in real time. We have
Man,
heard some good things from fans about Ryan Fitzpatrick. We done heard some bad things about Ryan Fitzpatrick. We done heard some okay things about Ryan Fitzpatrick. But the question is, what Ryan Fitzpatrick are we going to get in Week 1? Are we
we
going to?
don't know.
We don't know. Are we going to get Tampa Bay Buccaneers Ryan Fitzpatrick? Are we going to get the Dolphins Ryan Fitzpatrick, or are we going to get the New York Jets Ryan Fitzpatrick? Because I actually happen to love so much. Actually,
Yeah, that's one of his best seasons of his
yeah.
career.
He started
Uh,
14 games that season. 14 games he started that season.
I want us fans to be realistic about things though.
Yeah.
People, we gonna be. I'm gonna be mad because when we watching the games, you know he's gonna throw picks and turn the ball over. Then he's gonna hit us with some plays and be like, whoa, cuz balling. He's balling today. So we gotta have that same mentality. Like my expectations for Ryan Fitzpatrick, realistically, I just want him just to play the whole season and see can he get us to the playoffs the best way he can. I'm not putting pressure on him. I don't think we need pressure on nobody. We just need to go out there and show that we ain't wasn't just
I'm
a
okay
one
with
year thing.
I'm okay with the picks. Just don't throw too much of them. Don't throw the picks when it costs us. Is what I'm saying. Like for
Okay.
instance, the game start, you throw a pick, cool. You bounce back, don't throw another pick. Just don't throw the pick when it matters. Okay, don't throw a pick when you're in the red zone. You know what I'm saying? It's you got to just. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick would definitely be making smarter decisions this season than he ever did in his career. And I think we'll definitely see a very, very, very different Ryan Fitzpatrick. Because not only
I
that,
hope so. I hope so.
not
It's
not
positive.
only
I really hope so.
not only that, this is what 13 team that he's been in his career.
I thought it was
This
10.
is well, the number is high. The number is high. The number is high. But I think that it's one of those things is where if I don't make it here, will I make it anywhere?
I mean, he's at the end of his road. He's 30, look, 30, he's around my age. He's like 36, 35, 37, 36, 37.
He needs
So
money.
he's,
He needs money. I mean, guy got nine
his
kids.
pockets should be, man, his pockets should be straight. If you've been in the league for that many years, your pockets are straight.
He
And
got
he's a
nine
quarterback, his
kids.
pockets are straight. His pockets are straight. He don't make some good money, bro. He's going to make 10 to 12 this year. He's going to be straight. That's for real.
So I'm very high on Ryan Fitzpatrick right now. And I guess we'll see week one. Not sure if we're gonna see Curtis Samuel in week one. I hope so. I just want to see what he offers on this offense, but I know we probably won't see him in week one. Just hopefully that we see him, by week two or week three. So we'll see. More updates will come on the Curtis Samuel injury, his injury update and things like that. Moving on. There we go. Our new segment,
Hey,
cold takes from the champ. All right, champ. What do you got for us today?
man, my code take of the day is Sub-Zero code. It's Chris Samuels, man. I feel like this is about to be Paul Richardson 2.0. I'm sorry, I said it. I'm calling it. Cuz has not participated since he hasn't done anything since May. He has one practice since May. So I don't.
Oh man,
That really bothers me. I'm gonna just yeah. Paul
oh
Richardson 2.0, and I hit that on the nose. I hit that. You gotta feel that just a little bit. Yeah, he ain't gonna. I don't see him staying healthy, man. I don't know. I could be wrong. It's an extra game this year. Hopefully he's out 2 or 3 weeks, and then he plays the rest. Like give us 14 games, then I'll shut up. Especially if he balls out and plays good, I'll shut up. But right now he's Paul Richardson, man.
yeah. I just think that he has one of those injuries again that can linger on throughout the season. Groin injuries are no fun. If you
Nope.
played sports before, if you had a
Yeah.
groin injury, it's no fun. It's no fun
Especially in
whatsoever.
2 days, you catch one of them jokes in 2 days in the summertime when it's hot.
It's not
Yeah.
fun at all. Groin injuries
Look,
are very painful, and those are the type of injuries that will definitely linger on. As for a player who has to practice and work out every week, it's hard because you don't get a chance to rest your body. You have to keep working it out. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. You have to keep getting up, going out and about. So you don't really get to take the rest. So it's just we'll we'll try to see. We will definitely see how Curtis Samuel get better. You have any other cold take for us?
man, ever culture, let me think off the top of my head. I'm gonna have to say what took Ron so long to what took Ron so long to announce who the starting quarterback was. Like everybody else pretty much did theirs, and he wanted to wait an extra week. We already knew who the starting was. Everybody wants to see number 4 play. That's not going to realistically happen right now, especially after 6 quarters, 5 quarters of football. So let's be realistic on that. So like Ron's just sitting there like, oh, it's a competition. No, it's not. It's not. Just, just say, hey, it's your show. Run it until I feel like you can't run it no more. Because we all know, Ron, if you frustrate Ron, he's gonna pull the plug from him and next man up. So So that's the only thing else I feel like this told my coat take. I'm saying. I'm done.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. We all knew Ryan Fitzpatrick was going to be the starter indefinitely, right? That was something that goes without question. It doesn't goes without question. Because I mean, let's be real. Are you going to start this kid who had one fantastic game, or are you going to start this guy who you know that you get something from, season after season after season? And to be honest,
Common sense.
as much as I love the unpredictability of Taylor Heineke, it's not something that you risk when you're trying to build something, or when you're trying to make moves, right? And those moves are simply, listen, we don't know if we're going to make it to the Super Bowl, but I want to give these guys who are fighting to get a Super Bowl the chance to hope for it. You know what I'm saying? And this is why, and this is why I just don't want to see Taylor Heineke. You know what I'm saying? Start off in the season. So
Like I said, I'm rooting for Fitzpatrick to play all 17 games. But if it doesn't, it is what it is. This is what what Heineke got to put on his show. See what he's really, really, really about. That's
definitely,
all I
I
can say.
agree. Moving on to the next topic, which is actually is a great way to segue into this. Another NFC East title. Can the football team win back to back NFC titles? And we haven't done it hasn't been done in a while. It hasn't been done in a while. So, do we have the tools to run it back?
Yes, because we had the best coach in the division, the best defense in the division. But that once again, we just think it's going to go only as far as Ryan Fitzpatrick goes. So if you want to ask me, and for the viewers that's watching right now, to out of 100%, I'm like 70, 75%. I believe we can win this division again between that, and that's solid. And I never really felt that way. I just never felt that way. But I just see the things that's going on with the team and what they're trying to do, what direction they're going on, and I'm looking at the way the rest of our division is. I just feel like we're more of a solid team than everybody else at the moment. But like I said, I feel like maybe besides the Giants, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I right now, when I look back and look at from the off season up until now, I think that we are in a better position to win the NFC East title again. It's no guarantee, but I think right now we're in the best position to repeat. The Giants is in a position to they've added some very nice pieces to
Yes,
not
they
only their
did.
offense but their defense as well. So definitely we're gonna be looking at possibly be looking at the Giants in our rearview mirrors. That's gaining on us. If we're the leading dogs, by week 6. So the question is the question is that what exactly do you think how's this playoff stretch is going to take heed with the guys that we have and also our division. We have the Washington football team, the Giants, the Cowboys, and then the Eagles. So how I feel about the Cowboys. I think they can be at the bottom of the barrel for all for all I care. But realistically, looking back in the football chance, the Cowboys definitely have the pieces as well. They just stacked up their linebacker core even more. Um, we have Amari Cooper. We have Amari Cooper, who actually just said in social media that he is the best wide receiver in the league. Okay, you know, uh, yeah, scratch beard, you know,
I'm not even going to respond to that. You just go ahead. I'm not even going to respond to that.
but
I mean, he can play. He can
I
play.
think I
That's all I
think
can say.
definitely I think definitely that the Washington can definitely win the NFC East title again. It just all depends on how Fitz do. It all depends on how Fitz
That
does.
is that in health. Is that health and referees?
Yeah, yeah. So I guess we'll see. Last topic of the night: the secondary review.
Hey,
I've
all
been
right.
waiting for this. So of course you guys been hearing me throughout the whole show. I almost really got down to the nitty gritty when we were talking about the secondary that we have. And I kept
Oh,
telling
my
you
boy got a
guys,
job too, yeah. I told you, man. Patience. My boy got a job, man.
Marlon,
Yeah.
who's you with right now?
Who picked him up? God damn it. Oh, Buffalo. I think he's Buffalo.
Yeah, that's right.
I
Yeah.
think Buffalo added him for depth. Is he with Buffalo? I gotta find out. Don't 100% correct me. I think it was
No,
Buffalo.
Houston, Houston. Yeah, that's right, Houston.
Ah, yes. There we
Yeah.
go.
I think he'll do good in Houston. He'll
It's
definitely
a
do good in
job,
Houston.
man. It's a job.
Yeah, it's a job. You know what I'm saying? I'm very glad he was able to find a home that quick. So definitely, best wishes to him. Secondary review. Let me just go ahead and dive into it. We talked about Kendall Fuller, but let's talk about WJ3. A lot of people don't really know much about him, but if you are a football fan, you know WJ3 from Cincinnati. He's actually he's one of those corners that you would need, like you said earlier. You know, those long arm guys who can definitely press, who can press up and can keep those wide receivers at bay for a decent amount of times. And that's what WJ3 definitely brings to the secondary. I'm excited. I was very excited when they gave him that contract, and I'm definitely, I think that he will definitely do very well here in Washington. And one of the things that I definitely want to talk about is these young guys that we got, right? Benjamin St. Juice. The juice is real out here, folks. The juice, the juice is real out here. We ain't talking about OJ.
Nah.
We ain't talking about the juice is loose for real. Benjamin St. Juice, from Minnesota, University of Minnesota. When we drafted him, I was like, oh sweet, this guy is definitely a prototypical defensive back. And what I mean by that is that, um, of course, you know that there are cornerbacks and there are safeties. And when you hear that term defensive back, when I hear that term defensive back, it's one of those it's those position guys who are very versatile, who can play not
Yep.
only safety, who can also play cornerback. And that's what St. Juice actually brings to the secondary. That guy who can not only play safety, who actually has great play recognition as well, but he has long arms and he has speed on him as well. So I think definitely he's going to play great, a great factor on this outside game. We've seen
Well,
him
we
in the
gonna see.
preseason.
They're going up against some dogs in the
Yeah,
first week. We're gonna
definitely.
see.
You got Amari Cooper for twice this year. You got Kenny Galladay twice this year. So it's we're going to see some matchups that's going to be very interesting. So I'm very excited to see that. And let's talk about Torrey McTyer. Okay, honestly, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who this guy is, but Torrey McTyer, he showed up in the preseason and he stood out. And what I meant by stood out, I mean like regardless if it was a crowd around him, you was going to see Torrey McTyer. That's how much he has performed in the preseason. He did his thing in the preseason. He stepped up. There's a reason why he's on this 53-man roster. The way he just he did get beat he did get beat a few times, but I mean it's what you expect for a guy
Yeah, it's
who's
part of the game. Man. It's part of
yeah,
the game.
it's
Bulls
part of
get
the game.
cooked.
You're not going to stick with everybody every single time, but the one thing that I've noticed about Tor McTyer in the preseason is the kid never gives up. He even if he does get beat on the play, he never just gives up and let the play go. So I'm definitely interested, in seeing Troy McTyer being added to the lineup. Um, how do you feel about Torrey McTyer and this secondary right now so far, as far as the defensive backs that we do have.
I feel like this is honestly above average secondary. These guys can get it done. Randy Thomas look like he's back from his old self. We're gonna find out too. You know what I'm saying? And then like Cam Carroll had a wonderful rookie campaign. He's coming back with more experience. Hopefully he's developed more better and everything. And like I said, we follow that corners and we got some depth there. And I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm just excited, man. I'm waiting for Sunday to get here because when 12 o'clock hits, I'm not doing the damn thing after 12 o'clock, man. Nothing.
Oh yeah,
Don't call
yeah.
me. So
Listen. Like I said, Sunday nights, Sunday, 12 p.m. to 12
it's 12
midnight.
p.m. 12 midnight, yeah.
Leave me alone. Don't bother me. My phone is on silent because I'm tuned in, watching the game. Not just watching the football team, watching every game.
Yep.
Because
Red zone.
football is back. You might can get me on Saturday, but depending on Saturday nights is usually when those Alabama games come on. Don't bother me. Roll tide roll, baby. Roll tide roll. Um, but I definitely think that we love football. You know what I'm saying? We both love football, regardless if you look at it. And I'm very excited for the season and how it's going to turn out. Um, you know, I'm going to be sitting back. You know what I'm saying? Me and my lady, we're going to be sitting back. You know what I'm saying? Watching the game. She's a Washington football team fan too, so that makes it all
Oh,
worthwhile.
that's
You know what I'm
love.
saying?
Yeah.
I ain't got to deal with nobody talking about something. Your team's some trash. And I'm like,
That's love. That's love. That's love.
I'm going to sleep on the couch. You know what I'm saying? You're doing too much. You know. But this back to the secondary review is this secondary review definitely what I want to talk about is these safeties. Okay, we brought in Bobby McCain, which is honestly it's a nice addition. He's a nice addition. He's that guy who can not only cover but he can play. He can play up on that line and
He's a
you know I
habit.
yeah. He's a hybrid. He's definitely a hybrid. I'm excited to see how he's going to fare out, as a recovery of Cam Curl for just for a couple of plays. Cam Curl, listen, I told you guys I was gonna come back. I was gonna come back on this, right? Cam Curl is that guy. He is the guy. Everybody laughed at me. Champ, you was there. You was there last season when I called Cam Curl's name and I said that he's going to be the starter. He's going to be the starter. If not by the end of the season, but by next season, he's going to be acclaimed the starter. And
No,
look at
honestly, you
look at it.
saw that dude develop every single week. You
Exactly.
saw him get
Yeah.
better every.
It's when we first seen Cam Curl, he missed a few plays, and we was like, all right, we don't know if this guy gonna cut it. You know what I'm saying? But then the next game came, and then the next game came, but then the next game, you can see that he stepped up every single one of those games where that those 5 plays he missed, the next game it was the 4 plays that he missed. Then after that it was the 3 plays that he missed. Then after that it was the 2 plays that he missed. Then after that it was the 1 play. And then after that, you, you
He got adapted
yeah,
to the game. Yeah.
exactly. So I think Cam Curl's definitely. I'm very excited to see Cam Curl step up, and he's developed his game. Throughout the weeks last season and coming into the off season and into the season today. I'm glad to see Cam Curl, and I definitely think he's going to have a hell of a season.
I
Let's
think so.
talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Landon Collins. All right, I'm excited to see Landon Collins. I was excited to see him last season. Didn't get a chance to do the injury. Some Washington fans have some ill feelings about him. They don't think that, he's gonna cut it. But honestly, I think that Landon Collins is in a great position right now. Only
Yeah.
because he has guys that can support him. Finally, he has guys that can support him where he doesn't have to extend his body any further. And I'm all for it. I think Landon Collins is going to have a great season this season. As as a leader, as a voice on that defense on that back end. I think this is going to be great. The secondary can be top notch, can in fact be top five secondary in the league as far as takeaways go. I think it
Oh,
has.
okay. I was about to say they was the top secondary defense last year with the guys they had.
Yeah,
So they brought
and
in some new
I think
guys.
I think they can definitely repeat. They're gonna definitely
Yeah.
repeat. So I'm excited for this. Champ, what do you think about the secondary so far? Looking from, from one side to the other side.
Like I said, like I asked you earlier, man, I'm confident in those fellas. They just do their job, man. Just play sound football, wrap up a tackle, play the best you can. Try just stick with your assignments. And like I said, across the board from the left side of the field to the right side of the field, we are actually truly solid. This team is solid all the way around. We just have to see these dudes go out there and show us. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I agree. Definitely, I agree. Bold predictions. All right. Also, I want to let you guys know that if you guys have a major prediction, man, I forgot to tell Adam. If you guys haven't made your predictions yet, then we are having a competition right now. You have to predict the end of the season,
Record.
the end of the season record, and if you come close, a win off. If you come close as much as a win off, you can win. You can win a prize. Who knows what the prize can be?
Gift
Um,
card.
it can be a gift card. We also have a vintage Washington football team wine tumbler right here. Fancy wine tumbler right here. There you go.
Mm.
It's a vintage. It's a wine tumbler. I would like to call it a mule. For the people who like, Moscow mules. I love the Moscow mule. I don't know anybody else. You know, don't tell the day job though. Don't tell the day job, but I definitely, this is a vintage wine tumbler, so you guys can definitely, have a chance to win that with this competition. So make sure that you guys definitely tune in. Also, it is September. You guys know what that means. It is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. You guys can definitely check out the Hog Farmers. They are a charity outside of Shenandoah, Virginia. You can follow them on Twitter at the Hog Farmers to learn about raising awareness of pediatric cancer and donating to the cause. They're helping families, financially and mentally with the pediatric cancer. So we thank you for the support. You can definitely hit their website at www.hogfarmerscharity.org. So make sure you guys donate to the cause. It's a very
It's a
great
good
cause.
thing.
I'm glad that I was able to meet a couple of guys who actually are hog farmers. So it was a great honor. Hopefully I'm actually down to meeting some recipients, that they have, some and at the St. Jude's Cancer Hospital. I'm definitely down into doing that and things like that, and meeting some good people. We'll definitely try to tag team the Hog Farmers on that. So yeah, man, Brian, you have any last words?
Nah, man, I'm about to say we gotta wrap it up. I got a
Yeah,
live
man. It's
fantasy draft I gotta do at 8:30 and
Yeah,
everything.
same here. I have one at 9 p.m. So make sure you guys, check out that fantasy. That's all the time that we have for you guys today. Again, we want to thank you guys for tuning in.
As
Next week,
always.
we're gonna have a guest that is a familiar face. He was on here week one. He's gonna be back with us today. Next week. We also gonna have a Giants fan in the building who's
Oh
gonna
Lord.
he's gonna give us his take on the team and the Giants and what to expect. And what else is supposed to be going down next week? Oh, Also, we're going to let you guys know on 2 sponsors that we have just acquired next week. All is going to happen here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I am CJ the Hog. This is DMV the Champ Brian. And we wish you guys a great night and enjoy the rest of the weekend. And happy first week of football, everybody.
Hey, bye.
All right, guys.